Welcome to the Monday, May 18th regular board business meeting of Board of School Directors. I'll turn the meeting over to Dr. Marseille at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. Welcome. So many faces in the audience. Before we, as we move into our celebratory practice, I wanted to bring to the mic Dr. Hart, principal at Belmont Hills, who's going to share with us some wonderful things happening, that has been happening, continues to happen at Belmont Hills. So, Dr. Hart.
Nothing like jumping right into it.
Oh, yes.
I'm delighted to be here this evening to share sort of the story of Belmont Hills. About 8 or 10 weeks ago, in preparation for this evening, I began to think about what is our story and what will I share. And there have been some really amazing things that have happened this year, and so I thought to myself, it might be a really great idea for us to talk about the way in which the continuum of services for boys and girls who receive autistic support services has really widened and deepened. Thought a lot about maybe we could talk somewhat about sort of our commitment to community service. And so as I was thinking about those things, they were all great, but it just didn't feel like it was exactly what I thought we should talk about tonight. And so I recognized that 63 heads are better than one. And so about, a number of weeks ago, we used a faculty meeting time, and I said, listen, we have an opportunity to tell our story. It's not my story, it's our story. And so I asked 3 questions. What is our story? Who should tell it? And what would be the medium in which we would tell that story? And so everyone met in small groups, and people with different roles and responsibilities gathered, and a lot of energy and a lot of excitement. And as the meeting was closing, I asked everyone just to sort of report out what it was that they were talking about. And some of the events and things that I had been thinking about were discussed, but I realized that the reoccurring theme wasn't an event. It wasn't an activity. It was really this idea that the spirit of Belmont Hills that was created 16 years ago, and I'm delighted that Judy Vitri is here, is still the same energy and passion that we have 16 years later. And our story is really about our spirit, our energy, and the heart of who we are, which of course I love the idea of heart being Pam Hart. So we took all the ideas and we sort of organized them together, and I recognized that there was no way that I could tell all the stories, so I relied on Jason Jordan, one of our 3rd grade teachers, to take the ideas and create a video. So I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But this idea of that we're the smallest school with the biggest heart, which I think is Michelle Florian, who's actually here as well, that was sort of her tagline, and I think it captures who we are beautifully. So before we begin, all right, let's see. Oh, okay, great. I want to set up the video just a little bit. The first is that there are many stories embedded within this video that are near and dear to my heart, and I could watch it 100 times and I will get filled up because I know the children in there and the teachers and the journeys that the children have been on. But it starts with the singing of our school song, and it ends with a song, Where I Belong, which was the final song of our 5th grade play. And that song captures, I think, who we are as a school community beautifully. So I want to thank all the Belmont Hills people who are here who made contributions, and I hope that you enjoy it. So if you were to ask me what I think the heart of Belmont Hills would be, I would say is that we're really committed as a community of meeting kids where they are, whether that's socially, academically, or even artistically. I'm reminded at this time of the year, because we have our kindergarten and first grade orientations, that I share that with parents each time I meet them for the very first time. And I'm reminded, if I think about the fifth grade play that we had last week, where we see children who are taking the lead, but yet when they were in kindergarten, they barely spoke to their friends. Children really finding their own voice and taking risks. And I think that as a staff and as a parent community, we work collaboratively and creatively for children to feel really good about who they are.
There's a definite energy to this building, from the first grade Famous African Americans, second grade Magical Night with Books, third grade Wax Museum, fourth grade People of Peace, fifth grade play. You can feel the energy. It's palpable in this building, and it's really, really powerful.
Even though I've only been in Belmont Hills for 3 years, I feel like I've been a part of the family forever. From the first day walking through the double doors in the lobby, I was welcomed with open arms from teachers who have been here for 5, 10, 15, 25 years. I can't think of a better place to be.
All of the people that come out for the pancake breakfast, the plays, the potluck dinners.
What is the heart of Belmont Hills School? Well, you see, there is no heart at Belmont Hills School. There's many hearts at Belmont Hills School. It's a collaboration of everyone on the staff, every family that's come through the doors, and every student who we've celebrated learning milestones with. It started with people long ago who had a dream to create a community school where everyone felt welcome, and that's the legacy that continues. There are moments that continue to happen, such as the all-school sing. When you walk through the front doors and you look up at the atrium and you see the beautiful mural celebrating 10 years, and those everyday moments that are shared between the hearts of Belmont Hills. So there is no one heart. It's all the hearts working together to create this beautiful, beautiful place.
Le cœur de Belmont Hills, c'est d'avoir un groupe de collègues qui adorent travailler ensemble.
The heart of Belmont Hills, for me, has always been the children. When Belmont Hills opened its doors 16 years ago, it was our mission to make a difference for the children that we would teach. I think our interactions over the past 16 years with the children, their families, and the community have created a sense of belonging, of trust, and that all comes from the heart.
The heart of Belmont Hills is the mutual respect and love between the teachers and the students. And as an alumni, to be able to come back and be welcomed with such open arms, I think it shows just how everlasting that mutual love and respect really is.
The heart of Belmont Hills School is the respectful, supportive relationships among teachers, students, and parents. Our Belmont Hills community is defined and illuminated by our kindness in words, our caring actions, and our commitment to work hard, play hard, and grow.
Belmont Hills includes everyone.
The first grade Famous African American Assembly. The Great Library. Fourth grade People of Peace Assembly.
Ruff, 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 ruff.
The kindergartners. Mrs. Blink's lunches. Our principal, Dr. Hart. The third grade Wax Museum. The music program.
All the teachers.
Student council.
Our school counselor, Mrs. Wagner.
La classe fantastique de français de Monsieur Mix.
Standing here beneath the shining stars, looking up at Jupiter and Mars, I can feel the light inside of me. I can dream of all the planets all align. I can feel this is my night to shine. Even though so much is still unknown, so much is still unknown. No one ever has to walk alone, never walk alone. I have lots of friends who care for me. Took some time to look, but now I see. I have found a place where I belong. I found my voice. Now I can sing my song with my friends right by my side. There's no reason I should hide, 'cause I have found a place where I belong.
And that's who Belmont Hills Elementary School is.
Thank you, Dr. Hart and staff. And each month, we look forward to these presentations from our various building principals and staff and students, and try really hard not to get emotional. So when the kids are in front of you, you have an excuse. But even with the video, it's really breathtaking to see all the wonderful things that you do. So thank you very much. Dr. Marseille?
Yeah, thank you. I echo that. I love the song. Takes me back with regards to a place where I belong. And we know that that is really the ultimate when we think about schooling, is making sure that every child feels as though they belong and they're valued. And I love the energy. So thank you very much for creating that culture and the work that you and your staff do. So with that, I'm going to probably change locations, because another great, exciting agenda item is really to honor our 25-year club. So. You okay? This is one of many enjoyable presentations where I'm not talking about busing. So I'm really excited about this conversation and giving recognition to some wonderful individuals. So tonight we come to honor a group of employees where professional excellence, spirited loyalty, and unyielding dedication to the interests of children are characteristics that define them as Lower Merion School District staff. We honor those who have shared this commitment in our schools, students, and community for 25 years and celebrate their outstanding contributions to public education in Lower Merion. So I'm going to name these 26 wonderful superstars, and then I believe that we have individuals who are going to come up and say a few words, and we have a small token of our appreciation. I say that because you really can't capture the work that you do in a small box. But we did want to say thank you for everything that you've done. And then I'll ask the individuals to come up and say a little words. Let me start by recognizing the newest members of our 25-year club who are here tonight. James Alvord, Ann Berlitich, Edward Collins, John Collins, Anthony DeCesar, Margaret Doyle, Tom Elliott, Walter Frazier, Joseph Gallagher, Gertrude Gerhardt, Bruce Hamilton, Frank Ionelli, Lori Kaufman, Lori Lampel, Robin Monteleone, David Moyer, Marianne Newberg, Susan Rose, Deborah Swandell. I also want to take time to recognize those honorees who are unable to attend tonight's meeting. Ann Emmerich, Cindy Heiss, Roosevelt Jenkins, Susan Lynn, Joseph Matei, Susan Page, and Kathleen Spiker. So joining us tonight are several colleagues of those individuals who will share some remarks and personal introductions. We have a small token of appreciation, which I said earlier, for honorees when they visit the podium. So at this time, I think I'd like to call Mr. Hughes to the podium, followed by Mr. Everslog.
Thank you, Dr. Marseille. Happy Monday, everybody. So, Lower Merion has 4 honorees, and I congratulate all the honorees. Lower Merion has 4 teachers with this milestone, and actually 2 are here with us tonight. I definitely saw 1, so I'm hoping the second one is going to be coming too. So let me just kind of give a little background. I have the honor tonight to introduce and recognize my colleague, Lower Merion High School music teacher, Tom Elliott. Tom began his public school employment as a bus driver in Charleston, South Carolina. He was actually only 16 years old and 11th grade when he held this job. According to Tom, it was the best job he ever had. To think, a high school kid getting paid to drive to school. Tom wanted me to add that he told our former superintendent, Dave McGill, when he asked Tom about his first job, Dave said, "Tom, where did you keep the buses?" Tom replied, "I drove my bus home every day." I'm going back in time. This is about 1997. And Dave replied, "Tom, that would not fly here." Anyhow, Tom graduated from the Curtis Institute of Music in 1976, and he performed with the Philadelphia Orchestra, the Pittsburgh Symphony, and then he freelanced in Philadelphia area as a musician until 1989. During this time, Tom worked part-time as an orchestra director at St. Maria Goretti High School in South Philly and conducted the jazz band at Bishop Shanahan in Westchester. It was Tom's late wife that encouraged him during the time to get his teaching certificate and apply for a job at Lower Merion High School as the orchestra, band, and jazz band director. So in the fall of 1989, Tom began his career in the Lower Merion School District. He has been such an integral part of our successful music program. Tom has brought the dedication and enjoyment to our music students throughout these years and is a true mentor to so many of our students. It should also be noted that Tom, over the years, has developed a cartoon character named Maestro the Lion for professional orchestra to be used for the purpose of children's outreach programs to help younger students learn about musical instruments and orchestra. Some of you might have seen these shows. The character started out to be just a mascot of sorts for the orchestra, hoping it would entice students to play an orchestra band instrument. Since its inception, he has developed an outreach not only to all of our elementary schools, but those elementary schools in Philadelphia, Chester School District, and the neighboring private schools. To this date, tens of thousands of children have been part of the Maestro Lion concert series. And 4 years ago, Maestro began an after-school music program in conjunction with the Bethel After School Homework Club. All due thank you to Tom Elliott. I've had the pleasure of working with Tom while I was a teacher, the AD, and assistant principal, and now the principal, and he is one of the most caring people I've ever worked with. Tom, you're a true asset to our school. As a teacher, you have taught so many students to do their best, to be passionate about music, and to enjoy every moment of learning. What more could our students ask for from their teacher? We thank you for your service to Lower Merion High School in this district, and students, faculty, and community. Thank you, Tom Elliott. Is Dave Moyer here? All right. Now I will pass this along to my colleague, Scott Everslog.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mr. Hughes, Dr. Marseille, members of the board. I frequently have to follow Sean when I present. It's always a challenging task because he never ceases to get the room laughing. But thank you, Mr. Hughes. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the many honorees on our list tonight that I've had the pleasure of working with in multiple buildings and share my appreciation with all of their efforts and service. And I also just want to make a mention of one gentleman who's going to be, Mr. Pacanan's going to talk about, but who's also at Harriton, and that's Frank Iannelli. I'm not going to be speaking specifically about Frank, but I did want to acknowledge Frank. He's a gentleman, compassionate, loyal, dedicated employee who's an outstanding custodian at Harriton. He takes a great deal of pride in his work and always maintains a lot of positivity. So I did want to mention Frank, and thank you, Frank, for everything that you do for Harriton and for the district. I have the privilege tonight of speaking about Mary Ann Corcoran Newberg. And Mrs. Newberg has spent 25 years in the district, all of which have been at Harriton High School. And she is one of the major faces of Harriton. When you walk into Harriton, you see Mary Ann, you know Mary Ann. She's definitely a personality that's associated with the school. In her 25 years, she served as a receptionist, main office secretary, and a first aider, the assistant to the school nurse at Harriton for 1 year. But the bulk of her career, 24 years, has been as the registrar, the guidance secretary at Harriton. And what that means is if you had a child that goes to Harriton, then you and your child worked with Mary Ann to help navigate that college process. Mary Ann has worked with thousands and thousands of students over the years to help make sure their transcripts are where they need to be. And literally we process thousands of transcripts and college applications every year, so you can imagine that the logistics of that task. She's also the main communicator about Naviance and information that goes out to families. She truly is the face of the counseling department. She serves a lot of other unique roles at Harriton as well. Mary Ann sponsors our tours for all visitors, so if you're a prospective family coming to Harriton, Mary Ann would be the person that would speak with you and walk you around and tell you about the history of Harriton, which is really a special role and one that I really value. She serves as a historian, has served as a personal source of information, telling me about the history of Harriton, has a story for each of the 10 principals that she's worked with. I'm number 10, but this is my third year, so 10 and 25, and it's a little bit above the average, so I'm doing okay. She can tell you the story of the mascot and the Ram versus the Highlander and the history of that, and tell us about each of the rules that were in place and why. She can pull out old newspapers and tell great stories about any of the many faces that have come through Harriton. And I don't want to think that that's just something that's neat. I would venture to say it's much more important. As we know, storytelling is not only a means of entertainment and education, but it's a way of cultural preservation. And Mary Ann brings a lot of pride to that. And as Harriton has grown and changed and evolved over the years, Mary Ann has helped us keep looking forward, but also keeps us connected to the past and the history of Harriton. So I thank you, Mary Ann, for serving in this important role, for being the face of Harriton to so many visitors and new families, and for helping so many students connect the dots to apply for so many colleges over the years. But most of all, thank you for loving and caring about Harriton as much as you do. Congratulations, and thank you for 25 years of dedicated and loyal service.
I believe Ms. Heffron is next.
That's out of alphabetical order. I wasn't expecting that. Oh.
What am I?
Sit down. I mean me, not you.
Pam Hart. Is there a Pam Hart?
Yes. Can I do this while I'm here? I'll do this while I'm here. Good evening, everyone. It's truly an honor to recognize Lori Kaufman as she marks her 25th year in Lower Merion. Lori is one of the few staff members at Merion, and we do have a few who have been there longer than me. When I think of Lori, a few words come to mind: flexible, creative, organized, patient, caring, enthusiastic, and funny. I have seen Lori transition to different teaching assignments over the years with grace and ease, always willing to do what was needed and to try new things. She even looped to 3rd grade with her 2nd grade class one year, which was such a positive experience for the children and the families. Her only request to me at that time was, I really don't want to go any higher. Lori has mentored and supported many new teachers over her years at Marian, and I know that they have learned so much from her, not only about curriculum, establishing a positive class climate, and the importance of communicating effectively with families, but they also learned all about the subtleties that no one could ever possibly learn in a 14-week student teaching experience. Lori, like so many of our teachers in Lower Merion, has incredible talents and strengths that she brings to her classroom and willingly shares with her colleagues. I have seen Lori in action over the years, and the thing that sticks with me is the incredible connections that she makes with her students. These are the things that are not measured by a score on a test or by a checkbox in a report card. Last year, a new family arrived from Turkey, a family who spoke little English and had no family in the States. Lori and her family opened their home and invited them to Thanksgiving dinner. It was not the first time that she had done this, and knowing Lori, I know that it won't be the last. She has the ability, with her generous heart and her love of teaching, to make each child feel like they matter, and she shows them every day that they are appreciated and loved for who they are. So it's my great privilege and honor to recognize Lori Kaufman for her years of service to the district.
Here I am again. I've been very fortunate to work with the talented staff and faculty at Belmont Hills Elementary for the past 6 years, and it's truly an honor to publicly recognize 3 of our faculty members who've contributed to the Lower Merion School District for more than 25 years. The first person I'd like to recognize is Laurie Lample. The first time Laurie Lample walked into the doors of a Lower Merion school, she was actually a kindergarten student. And after 13 years in Lower Merion School, she left and returned to Lower Merion in 1981 as a student teacher at Merion Elementary School and was hired as an instructional assistant the following year. Laurie remained at Merion Elementary for the next 17 years, with the exception of the time she took off to raise her children. She joined Judy Vitry and a group of adventurous educators when the opportunity presented itself to reopen Belmont Hills in 1999. And during her tenure at Belmont Hills, she has worked as an instructional assistant. She switched to 4th grade, she looped to a class of 5th grade, and then transitioned back to 4th grade, where she has been since that time. Because Laurie began her career working as the district's very first one-on-one assistant, she had firsthand knowledge and an incredibly unique perspective of the experiences of students who struggle to access curriculum and navigate the social world of an elementary school experience. So early on, she developed an insight and an empathy that I believe truly shapes her work with students and their families 25 years later. And this is most evident in her commitment and dedication to advocate for everyone with whom she works. In her classroom, she's created a community in which student voice, perspectives, and experiences are not only considered but valued. She takes tremendous time to get to know her students, for them to connect with one another and with her as well. And while many teachers see 4th grade as that pivotal time to give students more responsibility to serve as a link between home and school, Laurie has been able to find the balance between the need of responsibility and independence for students and the need for parents to be in the loop. She does an absolutely amazing job staying connected with families to celebrate accomplishments and share those special areas of needed growth every now and again. And as a result of these connections that she's been able to establish from the very first day, her students and families work very hard to remain connected with her long after 4th grade, 5th grade, and sometimes 6th grade is over. Laurie's advocacy and care for others extend well beyond the classroom. In addition to her role as a fourth grade teacher, she has served as our co-sponsor of Student Council, spearheading Spirit Days and community service projects, which include the mitten tree and collections for the Narberth Food Bank. She is currently the building representative for LMEA and plays an important role in advocating for her colleagues and developing creative solutions to problems or concerns that may arise. The one thing that I and many of the other members of the Belmont Hill staff completely appreciate is Laurie Lample's ability to go to the end of the earth for any student, colleague, or parent that is in need. If she does not have what you need, she will email you the link, she will call a friend, and she will get it for you herself. So when a student needed an alarm clock to be able to get up on time for school, he had it the very next day. When a newly appointed principal happened to mention that she did not have really jazzy pajamas for the upcoming pajama day, pajamas appeared on her desk the very next day. It is Laurie's care and commitment to others that have made her such a valuable member of the Belmont Hill School family, and I'm honored to call her my colleague. Congratulations, Laurie. Like it's the Pam Hart show because we have 3 people here tonight. All right, the next person I'd like to recognize is Robin Monteleone. Robin is truly a talented educator who has set high expectations for herself. She is consistently taking risks, reflecting on her practices, and considering ways to further enhance her craft as a teacher in every way possible. Robin began her teaching career at Penn Wynne, and then found her home at Kinwood Elementary, where she taught 1st and 2nd grade. And once again, the opportunity presented itself to take a risk and begin a new school community at Belmont Hills, and she took the risk. And she's been teaching 2nd grade at Belmont Hills for the past 16 years. Robin is the rock of our 2nd grade. As the only remaining member of the original 2nd grade team, she has served as the mentor and role model as new members have joined the team, left, and other members have come as well. Anyone who works with Robin knows that she has high expectations for her colleagues as well as for herself, and they have benefited from her tremendous organizational skills, planning, and attention to detail. She has taken the initiative to develop planning guides and pacing charts for her grade level colleagues and for me. And so while that seems like a kind of a nitty-gritty piece, for me, I recognize that it's really enhanced our ability to work collaboratively and collectively. Having spent the majority of her career as a 2nd grade teacher, Robin knows her students and their families incredibly well and what it means to be in 2nd grade. She can anticipate the social and academic needs of her students, and I will tell you that every child in her classroom makes incredible progress each year, regardless of where they are in September. She sets goals for each child and she monitors them throughout the year, and every June we get together and we have a celebration, sometimes secret, sometimes very loud, to be able to celebrate the progress that the students have made. Robin's committed to creating a community of learners. She provides authentic opportunities for students to share their own experiences, connect to one another, and she shares her own interests and experiences, which I believe solidify the sense of family within her classroom. I always love popping into 2DM because regardless of what the content is that she's teaching, there is passion and energy in the air. And so that enthusiasm is contagious with her students and with me as well, and I invariably end up learning something I did not know before I walked in. Robin has served as our CIPD representative for many years, and in this role, she has been the voice of her colleagues. She has always had the courage to ask the difficult questions, struggle through uncharted terrain, and she has been committed to do the hard work to improve the experiences of our professional community and ultimately the students across the district. If Robin's strengths as a teacher and colleague are not enough, she's enhanced our school community in so many other ways. She's a wonderful dancer and has served as the choreographer when we needed a staff dance number a number of years ago. She's the lead singer of the No Child Left Behind teacher band. Let me get that together. So families see her not only at school, but at the pancake breakfast and the June Jam, dancing it up and singing. Finally, she is one mean baker and cook. She's won the meatball contest at our annual spaghetti dinner and family fun night. She's brightened the world with her chocolate cake, and she's always the first person to sign up for the dinner chain when families are in crisis or in need. Robin's commitment to excellence and her important role in maintaining the many Belmont Hills traditions has kept us all reaching for the stars. Robin Monteleone, you are a star, and I'm happy to work with you. Congratulations. I promise this is it for me for tonight. The final person I have to honor this evening is my colleague, Peggy Doyle. Peggy began her teaching career at Penn Valley, actually as a student teacher. And she left Penn Valley to go to graduate school at Harvard and then returned right afterwards. And during the 10 years that she was there, she taught first, second, and third grades. And once again, this really amazing opportunity presented herself. And she got on the train to 200 School Street. And for the past 16 years, Peggy has taught second and third grade, and most recently, she has served in the role of our reading specialist. Peggy Doyle emulates the quality of an exceptional educator because she embodies the perfect balance between teacher and learner and that dynamic process. She is a reader, a reflective practitioner, and a true role model. Many facets of her work, formally and informally, have been instrumental in creating a community in which our staff and students develop a love of the written word. The most fundamental aspect of her work is to meet with small groups of students who are in need of more intensive instruction in the areas of decoding and/or comprehension. The structure of these small group sessions highlight her strong pedagogical content knowledge and instructional practices. From the moment the children arrive to the second that they leave, there's not one wasted moment. She pushes them and guides them as they build their vocabulary, they practice their strategies, and they engage in metacognitive activities that they're going to use to reflect in their learning so that they can make the transition to the classroom. Peggy is always maximizing the instructional sessions because she is constantly analyzing data, conferring with classroom teachers, and planning sessions to meet the individual needs of each and every child. This work with students is critical, but it only provides a part of the picture that makes Peggy such a valuable member of our faculty. In this role, Peggy supports teachers as she shares resources, facilitates formal and informal professional learning opportunities, models lessons, and celebrates student progress. And this collaboration is only possible because of the tremendous respect and trust that her colleagues have for her. Her expertise and professionalism is second to none. As you can imagine, Peggy collaborates with other staff members, such as reading specialists and our librarian, to share her love of literature with all members of our school community. She facilitates our annual Read Across America celebration. She organizes every aspect of the Reading Olympic teams, and she's the energy behind our recognition of the National Poetry Month. For those of us that have worked with Peggy, we've all taken advantage of her amazing organizational skills and those editing skills as well. She has been unofficially named the official editor and proofreader of Belmont Hills Elementary School. Letters, correspondences, any mass email that has to go out has to make their way across Peggy Doyle's desk so that we know it is absolutely perfect. Her attention to detail also ensures that our school-wide events are well executed and thoughtfully implemented. I have personally appreciated Peggy's thoughtful engagement in our Cultural Proficiency Committee and Achievement Team meetings. And while the structure of these teams are different, the goals are exactly the same. Both provide a forum in which we reflect on our current practices and deepen our understanding of our students with the sole purpose of enhancing their progress and their experiences. We can always count on Peggy to raise important questions that end with, so what are we going to do differently to address, But that question is always followed by a thoughtful and creative recommendation that addresses the concern at hand. I thought I would end my words today because of Peggy's love of poetry. I have a short poem that I would have in my pocket if I had a pocket, but it's in my purse. An ode to Peggy Doyle. Tonight we honor you and your contributions of the past 26 years, not 25, in which you have shared your love of learning as well as your drive to nurture and support each child as they grow as a reader and writer. Your hard work and dedication has made their future much, much brighter. Congratulations for sharing all of your gifts with us. It's an honor to work with you, Peggy Doyle. Come on up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mitchell, can you come up and introduce our next honoree?
Scott E., I feel your pain. Because following that, everything Pam said, just replace with Susan Rose. Okay? So Dr. Hart got her doctorate in eloquence. I, on the other hand, was high school class clown. So let's fill in the gaps. Susan, thank you for all of your years of service. I took the time to find out what your colleagues wanted me to say about you, what the students wanted me to say about you, and then I added some of my personal notes as well. What are the colleagues saying? Dependable, hardworking, great sense of humor, excellent mentor, flexible, great resource for materials, fun, spokesperson for the grade and school. What the students say about you, these are second graders. Fun, smart, strict but nice, pretty, makes school fun, organized, dresses up a lot. So, what I say about Susan Rose. After 25 years of service, Susan is one of the first staff members to volunteer to assist with school and district initiatives. She is a leader at the team and building meetings. She asks questions which make our school a better place for students, families, and staff. Susan is skilled at making all involved parties feel heard and valued. She is quick to admit when something is working well and not so well. She is not too proud to ask for help. And yes, she is pretty, and she dresses up a lot. The other thing about Susan is that she loves her husband, Andy, and her son, Matthew, and with all of her heart, and would do anything in the world for them. Susan lights up when she speaks about Matthew and his academic and musical prowess. If Matthew was here, I was thinking he would be, I would say, yes, Matthew, she talks about you incessantly. Susan is a valuable team member at Penn Valley who can be counted on for leadership, mentorship, and fashion tips. Thank you, Susan. Come on up. Tell him I'll be looking for him next time. Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Bananowitz, please come up and introduce our next honorees.
Well, good evening and welcome. If you would, I'd ask you just close your eyes for a minute and picture yourself in an elementary school cafeteria. Now picture yourself being there 5 days a week for 5 lunch periods. Now think about doing that for roughly 170 days a year for 25 years. As far as I know, there's only one person here who can lay claim to that title, and that's our very own Betty Gerhardt. At kindergarten orientation, I talk to our parents and guardians about all the lessons that their children will learn over the number of years that they're with us at Penguin Elementary. I talk about the academic lessons that they'll learn, but I also talk to them about the life lessons that they will learn. For the past 25 years, Mrs. Gerhardt has been one of the best teachers of those life lessons that our children learn that are as important as the academic skills that we give to them when they come to our school. My colleagues talked about people who represent and who are simply synonymous with their schools, and that is for Penn Win, Betty Gerhardt. When you think about Betty, you think about Penn Win. She's the history of Penn Win. She's lived through 5 principals. She's been through construction. She's watched the neighborhood grow and develop. She's watched multiple generations of children come and go. She's now supervising the children of the children that she saw when she started 25 years ago. The most common phrase that comes to mind when I think about Betty Gerhardt is, no problem. No matter what I asked of Betty, no matter what we needed to get done, the answer was always, no problem. Say, Betty, we got 3 people, we're supposed to have 6, no problem. She always could figure it out, and she did. In addition to her official role as the cafeteria recess aide at Penguin Elementary, Betty lives directly across from school. She is literally 1 house away from school. And because of that unique position that she's in, she also is our unofficial weekend security guard. I get my Monday morning reports. I know exactly which kids I need to talk to. Betty has been a stable force in the course of the 9 years that I've been at Penguin Elementary. She comes up whenever we need her. She's there all times that we need her. Anytime that we needed something extra done, it was never a problem. She was always willing and able. She would make sure that on those inclement weather days that she came up with the kids at 8:30 just to make sure that she made her way up and was there when we started our first recesses and lunch. One of the things that at the end of the summer, I know the end of the summer is coming when Betty arrives, because she is one of the people who helps us put together the elementary mailing. And as much as I love our summertime, it's nice to see Betty arrive for that task, because I know that a new year is just around the corner. She's been an ambassador in our community and an advocate for our schools for her many years. She's spoken out many times. Whenever I needed somebody from the community to come and speak, Betty was right there for me. For all that you've done over the past 25 years, we want to thank you. Mrs. Gerhardt is showing off some new accessories here. Her newest accessory was compliments of a few active 5th grade boys who happened to just run into her a little bit. She got a nice ambulance ride over to Bryn Mawr, right? Yeah. And although she has not been able to work the past couple months, her doctors have cleared her, and we expect her back full force come September. Congratulations, Mrs. Gerhardt.
I think our next speaker, Pat Hackett.
I'm very pleased to be here this evening also, not only because we're not talking about buses, but because we get to participate in honoring so many great people here. And I'd like to point out there's at least 3 people in this room who have personally touched my family, and it's really great to see them again. But I'm also here now to recognize some employees from the support side of our workforce. There are actually 8 to be honored this evening. However, there are 10 total who have made the 25-year club this year. And even though they are support employees, they are not teachers, but they understand well how their work fits into the educational mission of the district. To a person, and I guess tonight I can say to a man because they're all men, they're always ready to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that education can happen. Whether that means coming in the middle of the night because we've had a sudden flood and we need custodians to help clean up, or it means coming in on a Sunday morning after a big snowstorm to clean the snow off all the buses so we're ready to go the next morning. whether it means coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning to plow that snow so that we can try to open at least maybe 2 hours late. These are the folks who will get it done time and time again. So it's my pleasure to start out by honoring Mr. Jim Alvord. Come on up, Jim. Jim started out in the grounds section, and he actually has an educational background in agriculture, so that was great. And in fact, whenever some teacher needed someone to help come and plant, or the kids were out planting flowers, or they were going to plant a tree or whatever, they always asked for Jim. Jim even made career day a couple of times at Welsh Valley Middle School because of his background knowledge in grounds. However, today he works on the utility and building maintenance section, and the quality of the air that we enjoy inside of our buildings, which nobody ever thinks about, is directly attributable to the work that Jim does. Jim's job is to go around and change the filters and clean all the heating, ventilating, and air conditioning equipment in every building that we have. And I can tell you that's hundreds and hundreds of pieces of equipment. And Jim is the guy who gets it done. We can always rely on him. And he has time left over to help out on other things, like fixing roofs. Jim is here tonight with his wife. One of the things that Jim does on his off time is that he is an athlete. He is an indoor bicyclist. Pardon?
I race track bikes.
Right, he races track bikes, so it's indoors. So he actually... I'm hung up on this word velodrome, So he's done this for a number of years, but recently he shifted his focus to the point where every summer he spends time out at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs working with wounded warriors and helping them regain confidence by learning how to ride a tandem bike on an indoor track. So Jim, we thank you for your service tonight and look forward to many more. Our next honoree is John, or better known to us as Jack Collins. Come on up, Jack. I refer to Jack as the quiet one. Okay, Jack is an electrician, and he's one of the famous Collins family, as we'll talk about in a minute here. But he's kind of the quiet one. Jack is an electrician, and his expertise is everything. Whether it's fixing the lights in the parking lot, up on some huge lift, or whether he's tracing down problems inside of a fire alarm system, he's the guy. Every Tuesday, you hear the generators crank up. That's Jack. He takes care of the generators. Always ready when you need him. Always there. Never, and will stay until whatever has to be done gets done. He was the guy, he's the only guy who knew the intricate details of the fire alarm system of the old Lower Merion High School. In fact, you probably were the one who knew that old Harrington as well. Yes. That was even more of a dinosaur. So, Jack is married, he is a grandfather, has 3 children. He spends a lot of time on weekends following his youngest daughter around. She dances competitively, and Jack enthusiastically accompanies her to all these competitions. So Jack, we thank you for your 25 years of service. I look forward to meeting you. Our next honoree is Ed Collins. I had to ask this tonight, but I could have guessed. Ed is the older of the 2 brothers. So Ed is a carpenter, okay? But that would be a very meager description of Ed's talents. Ed is the guy who has the ingenuity and creativity to figure out anything. Whenever something comes up, it's always like, well, ask Ed to take a look at it. Because he can figure it out. He is amazing, and he's a real craftsman, too. The work that he does is always very polished. He is working now as a lead carpenter, and he primarily tries to take care of the roofs, although it appears some days to be a losing battle with some of the roof leaks. Ed's main interest outside of the job, aside from his wife, who also works for us, is his son Eddie. And Eddie is a young man who is a very capable athlete into baseball season right now. So Ed's spending a lot of time following him around, making sure that he can get to the games. I asked him what position does he play. The answer was he plays every position. So that sounds like a Collins. Ed, thanks for your 25 years of service. So now I get to speak about some of the people who drive those big yellow limousines that we have. First of all, Tony DeCesar. Tony, if you could come up, please. Tony works for us today as a spare driver, which is an incredibly difficult position. At a moment's notice, he has to be able to jump into a bus, glance at a run sheet, and take off and start either picking kids up or taking them home. Now I've learned over the years, taking them home is a lot easier because you can ask them, hey, is this your stop? Tony works out of the Lower Merion High School, which is one of our remote locations. And he is our go-to guy, our eyes and ears at Lower Merion. He's quick to identify any problems or concerns, and if he can't fix it quickly himself, he's on the phone, giving a heads up to a driver or to the main transportation office. He's always the first to step up to help out. If a driver needs help, is unsure of procedure, has a question about his bus or his route, Tony is the guy who is there. Always dependable and reliable, he's a model for the department and is well-liked and respected by his coworkers. And he is here this evening with his 3 sons. So Tony, we'd like to thank you for your years of service. Our next honoree is Walt Frazier. Walt is a bus driver, it's true, and he has a regular route in the morning and in the afternoon, but everybody always thinks of Walt as a guy who is always helping out in the garage, the bus garage. And in fact, that's what he does. Between routes, he helps out in the garage. He's not a mechanic, but you would call him the mechanic's helper. And then in the summertime, he's part of the team that gets the buses ready for the next school year. Many people don't realize this, but about the end of July, the state police show up and they do a detailed inspection of every single bus we have. So there's quite a bit of work involved in getting all that stuff ready. And I can tell you, just like other support professionals, our mechanics take their jobs extremely seriously. They understand that the safety of children is dependent on how well they do their work, and they don't let anything on the road that they wouldn't put their own kids in. So Walt, we thank you for your dedication in ensuring the safety of our students. We thank you for the 25 years you spent with us, and we hope to see you around for more. Our next honoree is Frank Iannelli, a custodian, currently serving at Harriton High School. And I have some words here this evening that I'm going to read. I didn't make them up. It's a compilation of various editing teams involved here. But Frank, come on up. Frank Iannelli, a man who says, "What do you need me to do?" A theme that defines Frank Iannelli. He's a full-time custodian who has served at Penn Wynne, at Lower Merion High School, and now Harriton High School. When we needed to make changes to staffing at the high schools, Frank volunteered to go. He was instrumental in getting the new Harriton opened, and he's done a terrific job. He's loyal, dependable, a guy who always shows up for work and works until the job is done. He takes great pride in saying hello to everybody, having a smile on his face. He takes great pride in floor care. In fact, when you go to Harriton and you see the floors getting scrubbed by a man on a Zamboni, that's Frank. We do have ride-on floor scrubbing machines. They're not made by Zamboni, but his pride and joy is keeping the floors clean and burnished. And for all these reasons, I'm told he has earned the title of Mayor of Harriton High School. So Frank, we thank you for your service, and we hope to see you around for more. Our next honoree is Bruce Hamilton, who is a custodian at Marion Elementary. What can I say? A theme that defines Bruce Hamilton. A full-time Marion custodian for over 25 years. I could say he can bench press his fully loaded cleaning cart with 2 summer helpers hanging on. So yes, he is strong. He works long hours throughout the year at his assigned task until they're completed. So yes, he has endurance. While working, he can stop on a dime and, like General Patton, change direction to assist others. So yes, he is flexible. Strength, endurance, and flexibility, attributes which tell you why now and for always at Marion School, Mr. Hamilton will be our kind of custodian. His specialties are snow removal, till the job is done, stripping and waxing miles of tile floors, he calls it summer fun, carpet, rug, and upholstery cleaning, acres and acres of soiled fabric, and last but not least, his specialty of always showing up. Bruce Hamilton speaks loud and clear, but by his actions, not his words, and he does it all at Marion. Thank you. We have one more honoree. I'm not sure he's here this evening. Joe Gallagher. Okay, Joe is our head custodian at Kinwood Elementary. Joe is a product of our district, was a distinguished athlete at Harriton High School, and in addition to his head custodian duties at Kinwood, has served as a coach for many years, both at Bala-Kinwood and at Harriton. So Joe is a fixture, and we thank him for his service.
And we did not forget you. On behalf of the administration at BC, I'd like to recognize Dr. Ann Berletich for her 25 years of service. Tonight, Ann is accompanied by her husband, Joe, daughter, Tori, and son, Eric. Ann is an enthusiastic learner who has multiple degrees, including elementary early childhood education, Master's of Education in Technology Education, and has received her instructional technology and math certifications for middle school. Most recently, Ann earned the distinction of a doctorate in special education from Arcadia University, where she graduated with distinction and a 4.0 GPA. She also became certified in curriculum and instruction and wrote a dissertation on gifted education. Ann has taught in several classrooms during her tenure in Lower Marion School District. She taught at Kinwood, I found out, for 17 years, and then moved to the Ancient Worlds and Waterways interdisciplinary program at BC. During her recent years, Ann has instructed math to students at various levels. She holds her students accountable to a high level of excellence and works with them to achieve their goals by designing lessons and activities to meet all of their educational needs. Throughout her years working in Lower Marion, Ann has taken a leadership role in many more places than just her classroom. As a critical thinker who often takes time to reflect on all topics associated with education, Ann took an active role in developing the math and science curriculum for the middle school level, as well as the technology curriculum at the elementary level. She has been a part of the Strategic Planning Committee, the Technology Action Planning Committee, is a Green Council representative, as well as a technology mentor and facilitator. She's also been a volleyball coach. Ann is an educator who understands there is more to teaching a child than what they learn in the classroom. She has helped to enhance her students' understanding of science by coaching the Science Olympiad team to a multitude of regional, state, and national championships. We are very fortunate to have Ann at BC and continue to appreciate all of the efforts she puts forth for the students and staff in our schooling community. Thank you, Ann.
I think we have Ms. Schaefer.
Dynamic duo. Good evening, and I congratulate everyone this evening. It's been really a pleasure to listen to all the stories this evening, and I think one theme that came through for me is just the level of kindness and flexibility and sincerity that all of these individuals hold, and this is true for the individual that I'm here to speak about, who's Debbie Swindell, our current Assistant Director of Human Resources. And the reason we're double teaming is because there's so much that she does that we think is worth the recognition this evening. She's one of really the unsung heroes here in the district. She has had the opportunity and has really guided many employees in this district through a lot of tough times, illnesses, injuries, deaths, retirements, pregnancies. She's the go-to person and the one that I think everyone in this room who probably has had an interaction with her knows that you can go to her. She holds your issues and concerns in utmost confidence and treats you with the respect of your situation and gives you the time that it deserves. So she truly is a magnificent asset to the district and to the human resource team, which is a great team. And she brings to the team the history, like Mr. Eveslage said about the advantage of having so many individuals who have that 25 years of service. She brings that lens and helps us retain the institutional memory of things that have happened before, the past practices that we like to discuss with our association and what's happened before, and we try to make sure that we're consistent in the way we treat all of our employees over time. So I wanted to share those words because I think they sometimes go unnoticed, and they're certainly deeply valued by the team that she works with and by the organization as a whole. So I'm going to turn the fun part over to Mia.
Good evening. Like so many others who have been recognized tonight, Debbie Swindell is certainly no exception. She has been a dedicated employee working very hard in the district. Specifically, Debbie has been working in the Human Resources Department for 25 years. That's a quarter of a century in one organization and in one department. And this shows that Debbie is certainly not afraid to make a commitment. And for that, you can just ask her husband, Charles, since they have been married for 41 years. As we honor Debbie's 25 years of service in the district, we wanted to share some thoughts from our employees who've worked with Debbie and or have sought her guidance. Tom shared that Debbie has always been there for him, been thoughtful and willing to help. He remembered inquiring her about taking a sabbatical to go to Venezuela to observe the now internationally recognized music education program called El Sistema. Debbie took the time to really map out everything and showed Tom what he needed to do in order to qualify for the professional sabbatical. And then when Tom's wife became ill, Debbie was also there for him. Debbie helped him navigate through the process of taking a leave so that he could be with his wife through hospice care. After Tom's wife passed away, Tom realized that he could no longer care for his pet lab named Poggy. Tom knew that Debbie liked Poggy, so he offered Poggy to Debbie. And sure enough, Debbie was willing to take the dog. During this stressful time, Tom did not think that his own daughter could take Poggy. But later, the daughter and her husband welcomed Poggy as part of their family. And so when Debbie heard about this, she definitely recognized and understood that Poggy needed to be with his family. As HR personnel, Debbie is involved in so many confidential matters. To this, Camille once described Debbie as someone who maintains utmost confidence. You can say that items that go into Debbie's vault don't leak out. It is airtight for sure. And Lori stated, when your pay is all jumbled from the changes in your salary, don't you worry about it, because Debbie will get you paid. So what Lori really meant was that Debbie will help resolve payroll issues as well, so that our employees' needs are addressed. Even those who've worked with Debbie express appreciation for her calm, attentive, caring disposition and professionalism. Kelly said, Debbie's a great listener. She will quietly listen to everything you have to say, then give level-headed, unbiased, and honest feedback. Maura shared, Debbie is always there for you and has time for you. No matter how busy she is or how late she will end up staying, she's always willing to listen, answer a question, or help with a problem. Never do you feel rushed, like an imposition, or that she has something else she needs or wants to do. Susan said, Debbie helped her keep her perspective crystal clear. Shortly after Susan arrived in HR many years ago, Debbie's advice to Susan was, keep to the facts, only the facts. And those words are repeated in Susan's mind in many situations daily. It's great advice. But according to Susan, Debbie's greatest attribute is trustworthiness. As Susan said, Debbie can be trusted, period. Barbara finds Debbie to be knowledgeable, patient, and soft-spoken. She is the epitome of a professional. And Anne-Marie shared, Debbie is a very special person. On Anne-Marie's first day in HR, there was a beautiful card on her desk. And although Debbie was on vacation, she wanted to welcome Anne-Marie to the department. And Anne-Marie says, it is an honor and privilege to work with Debbie every day. Debbie, all of those testimonials from the employees also represent my thoughts of you. On behalf of the district and the Human Resources Department, we sincerely thank you for your 25 years of service, and we certainly look forward to the next 25 years.
Wow. I want to end with this and say that listening to the accolades and the recognition, it is safe to say that there's not enough time to adequately say thank you for the work that you have done. There's not enough thank yous to express the lives that you have touched. That goes into the hundreds and thousands. So on behalf of this board and this administration, behalf of all your colleagues, we want to say thank you again for the wonderful work that you continue to do and the lives that you have touched. So please join me in another round of applause. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations again to all of our honorees. We'll now take audience recognition on, I'm sorry, if you would like to leave, you are more than welcome. We certainly understand. I have 12 pages of an agenda here, so. So we'll move to audience recognition. If you would like to speak to an agenda item, please come up front and sign in with Ms. LaPera and let us know your general area of the where you live in the district, and there's a 3-minute time limit. Is there anyone who's interested in audience in presenting public comment? Okay. If you could make your way to the front as soon as you're able. We'll take your comment right now.
Oh, all right.
Thank you.
Very much.
Pleasure.
My name is Norm Isabel. I'm not only a graduate of Lower Merion High School, but I've lived in the community for over 50 years. Now, I know the board is in a period of transition, and I would like to thank those members who are leaving the board for their commitment to our community. Thank you very much. I do have concern with some of my neighbors, and that is, seems the board's reluctance to promote from within, and particularly when we have some people who have earned the respect of the teachers, who understand the culture of the community, but more importantly, who understand our students, the most important facet in that. And so I would like the board to consider in the future promoting from within. And I think that it builds unity within the school district with all the employees to do that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment, sir. I'll move now to approving the minutes from the following meetings. April 27th, regular business board meeting. May 11th, education committee and supplementary regular board meeting. And accept the following committee meetings. April 29th, legislative. May 4th, curriculum. May 8th, policy. May 13th, communications. May 14th, facilities and purchasing. Are there any questions at this time? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Before the board formally votes on the appointment of Mr. Robert Copeland as the new superintendent of the Lower Merion School District, I want to take a moment to briefly review the year-long search process the board and the community engaged in, as well as acknowledge a number of groups and individuals that have been instrumental during this time. As you're probably aware, the board began the superintendent search process in August of 2014 with the appointment of the search firm BWP and Associates. The initial public engagement phase of the search included the launch of an online community survey and facilitation of more than 70 focus groups and forums. Nearly 1,000 district stakeholders participated, providing valuable feedback to our consultants and the board. After gathering data from the community, a leadership profile was developed and used for advertising, as well as identifying the best candidates for the position. In early March, BWP met with the board and presented a slate of 38 highly qualified candidates from 16 states, 21 of whom had previous experience as superintendents. BWP recommended that the board consider 7 of those candidates for interviews, which included our current acting superintendent, Dr. Wagner-Marseille. The board conducted interviews during the months of March and April and arrived at its decision in May as we had planned. As we enter a period of transition, I want to express the board's deepest appreciation to Dr. Wagner-Marseille, who has guided the district over the past school year and will continue as acting superintendent until resuming his role as assistant superintendent on July 1st. Dr. Marseille is a talented and dedicated administrator who continues to serve this community with passion, skill, warmth, and grace, and we deeply value his ongoing contributions. I want to thank the community and everyone who completed surveys, sat for focus groups, sent letters and emails to let the board know what they felt the district needed in their next superintendent. We are extremely grateful for the commitment of our community, and we will count on your support as we move through this transition together. The administration under Dr. Marseille's leadership has been remarkable in their ability to continue to move forward with the work of the district, especially the development and beginning implementation of the strategic plan. The board is very proud of what this plan represents for our future. Thank you to the Board of School Directors who cleared their calendars for the past several months to research, consider, and deliberate on the candidates that we felt could best address the issues that are pressing for this district. We feel confident that our selection will allow the district to stay on an upward trajectory. Mr. Copeland brings over 13 years of experience in the superintendencies in Piscataway, New Jersey, and Neshaminy, Pennsylvania, respectively. This extensive experience the board collectively felt was what the district needed at this time of dramatic enrollment growth and the myriad challenges confronting public education. On behalf of the board, I want to thank the district and community for actively engaging in this process and look forward to working closely with our district leadership and the community in the upcoming months. With that, I'll move forward with our vote. Okay, the Board of School Directors appointment of superintendent pursuant to Section 1073 of the Public School Code. It is recommended that the Board of School Directors appoint Robert Copeland as superintendent of schools for a 5-year term to commence July 1st, 2015 and end June 30th, 2020. It is further recommended that the Board of School Directors approve the employment contract between the district and Mr. Copeland in the form presented. Are there any questions at this time? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And I will take a roll call vote. Ms. LaPera, would you call the roll for the board, please?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. We'll start with Diane DiBonaventura.
Before I welcome Mr. Copeland to Lower Merion and vote to approve his appointment, I'd like to take a moment to thank our acting superintendent, Dr. Wagner-Marseille, for all he's done for us this past year. In the midst of burgeoning enrollment, teacher contract negotiations, and the implementation of a new strategic plan, we asked Dr. Marseille to do a job that would have been a challenge for even the most seasoned superintendent. I just want to acknowledge what a great job he did. This was no easy year. Dr. Marseille not only fulfilled his responsibilities of keeping the district stable during the transition, but he extended and expanded on initiatives that were already in progress. On a personal level, I found Wagner to be one of the hardest working and dedicated people I have ever met. He was constantly learning, asking questions, reaching out to colleagues, and doing absolutely everything possible to do the job well. While I hope he stays with us for a very long time, I wouldn't be surprised if another board offered him an opportunity to lead their district. With the experience he has gained this year, he's certainly ready. So Wagner, I just want to say thank you very much for your service and your commitment. In addition to Dr. Marseille, I'd also like to thank the entire administrative staff for their efforts this past year. You've filled in for each other and covered all the gaps. I'm particularly grateful to Marcy Hockfield and to Megan Schaefer for your service to the district and for your personal support of Dr. Marseille. We're very fortunate to have such a talented, loyal, and devoted staff. To Mr. Copeland, I'd like to say welcome. We're looking forward to your leadership and your experience. And I know I'm a little biased when I say this, but it's a great place. And we're really looking forward to working with you. So with that, I'd like to vote to appoint Mr. Copeland.
Dr. Gilbert?
I'd like to echo Diane's comments and thanking Dr. Marseille for his service and to the rest of the administration for their service over this difficult year. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Copeland, and I vote aye.
Ms. Pollard?
I, too, echo the sentiments of Ms. DiBonaventura, and I personally thank Dr. Marseille for all that he's done and is still doing for our district. And with that, I would like to vote yes on welcoming Mr. Copeland to our district.
Thank you. Ms. Robinson?
I too echo the thanks to Dr. Marseille for his leadership in these times of burgeoning enrollment, as he mentioned, and thank Mr. Copeland for his future and guidance.
And are you voting? Yes. Thank you. Mr. Driscoll?
Like everyone else, thank you, Wagner, for all you've done this past year. We do sincerely appreciate it. But I vote, and I'm also welcome Mr. Copeland. Hope we'll see how things go, and I vote yes to bringing Mr. Copeland in. It's going to be good.
Dr. O'Leary? Yeah.
I don't know how to follow that. Again, thank you for everything you've done. There's been an incredible passion and energy that you brought during the year, and I think everybody has felt it, and it really something special that you brought to the table, and welcome to Mr. Copeland. I think we have a lot behind us now, and really, really exciting couple of years coming up, and really looking forward to the great work that everyone's going to do. So I vote yes.
Thank you. Ms. Ackman?
I also wanted to not repeat what everyone else said, but thank Dr. Marseille, the staff, welcome to Mr. Copeland, and I wanted to add a thank you to our board chair, who I think ran a very inclusive and great process for what was not an easy thing to do, and I feel really confident moving forward with all the talented staff and Mr. Copeland arriving that we'll be in very good hands moving forward. So I vote yes.
Thank you. Dr. Golden?
And I guess I will both want to welcome Mr. Copeland to the district and state how impressed I was during the interviews and how much I look forward to working with him, and I think all the board does. And also not only to thank Dr. Marseille, but to express my gratitude for his stepping up, really stepping up and standing up this past year. And I'm a yes.
Dr. Van Lynch?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That is 9 yeses, all in favor.
Welcome, Mr. Copeland. If you could come up and share a few words with the board and the community, we would be grateful. Again, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll see how it goes. Clearly, it would be silly for me to say what you already know. This is a great district, and I am humble, and I truly mean that in joining you. The Lower Merion School District has a reputation second to none. That, along with the great legacy of Chris McGinley and Dr. Marseille, make me a little bit nervous. It means that you've got to really bring your A game to move forward. One of the things that made me really interested in the district was the strategic plan. It usually takes me a couple of years, maybe 3 or 4 years, to get to a district where they could be where you are now. To have that kind of inclusiveness, that kind of community support, that kind of willingness to take chances, to not just come up with goals and objectives that are easy to reach, but goals and objectives that are worthy to reach, is really a testament to the work that you've done and the work that you've always done in Lower Merion. I was listening tonight to the kinds of tributes that people were talking about to employees of the district. And you know, when you've been in a district a long time, as many of you have, you may take for granted the kind of rituals and culture that you built here. But coming in fresh and watching the kind of joy and love and laughter that you shared about the experiences of people that have given so much to the school district was really awe-inspiring. I'm a little concerned about the discussions on busing, but I'll let that go.
I'll update you on that.
Yeah. I so look forward to this challenge. I so look forward to working with you. I was so equally impressed with the Board of Education, the questions you asked, the process you went through. The community is lucky to have you, and I'm very, very pleased to be joining you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I can't wait to be a member of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Copeland. We'll now move to our resolution regarding standardized testing. The administration, do I read this? Or do you?
You read that.
Okay. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached resolution on standardized testing. And it reads as follows. A resolution regarding standardized testing by the Lower Merion School District Board of Directors. Whereas in the Lower Merion School District, we believe our top priority is the personalized education of every student every day, and it is difficult to measure factors that we consider to be essential: the dedication of our teachers, the rigor and breadth of our academic offerings, the opportunities for co-curricular exploration, the level of parental engagement, this community's commitment to public education, and whereas the Board of School Directors of the Lower Merion School District understands the value of some limited standardized testing and will continue to present these tests to students as mandated by law, and whereas the Lower Merion School District routinely provides its own student assessments that engage students and provide critical and timely feedback to teachers and administrators, and whereas the Lower Merion School District routinely engages in its own program of teacher assessment that provides critical and timely feedback to teachers and administrators, and whereas the Board of School Directors of the Lower Merion School District is very concerned with the resources being diverted to standardized testing in classrooms and in districts across the state, and the overuse of standardized tests, which disproportionately impacts our most vulnerable children, minority students, low-income students, special needs students, as well as students who do not speak English as their first language, particularly when those tests are used to determine ranking, admission, and graduation of students, or to evaluate teachers and school staff and overall school performance. And whereas the Board of School Directors continues to oppose the state mandate that requires Keystone exams in all Pennsylvania public schools as graduation requirements, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of School Directors of the Lower Merion School District ask its community to continue to define success for ourselves and our children in a way that celebrates curiosity, goal setting, academic risk-taking, along with more traditional accomplishments, and be it further resolved that the Board of School Directors of the Lower Merion School District calls upon its teachers and administration to remain focused on quality teaching of quality content and to minimize time spent on preparation for standardized testing. And be it further resolved that the Board of School Directors of the Lower Merion School District calls upon its legislators to strive to minimize the amount of mandated testing and the use of standardized testing for teacher and school evaluation. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you to the Board of Directors and also to our Legislative Committee for the work on this important resolution, and we look forward to moving forward with the goals that are set forth in the resolution. With that, I'll turn the meeting over to Dr. Marseille.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. A couple of highlights, as I usually do, in terms of recognizing some of the wonderful work happening across the district. And we said earlier it's too many to count, but I wanted to share a couple of congratulatory acknowledgements. I want to congratulate Heritage senior Ben Park, who recently selected as 2015 U.S. Presidential Scholar. It is a program established in 1964 by executive order of the President, honoring 141 of our nation's most distinguished graduating high school seniors. Park is an outstanding student and decorated cellist who was chosen as one of the program's 20 Scholars of the Arts, recognizing students who demonstrate exceptional talent in visual, creative, and performing arts. The award, presented on behalf of the President of the United States, is one of the nation's highest honors for high school students. Ben will be traveling to D.C. in June for several days and will perform at the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, so congratulations to him. It seems like every time I am behind this mic, I'm talking about Science Olympiad, so that's a great thing. The Heritage High School Science Olympiad team recently captured 7 gold medals and 6 silver medals en route to capturing the Pennsylvania State Science Olympiad Championship, besting 35 other top qualifying high schools throughout the state. This marks the 17th title for Heritage and 18 state competitions, the most by far of any program in the state. Harrington has qualified for the National Science Olympiad competition, which will take place in Lincoln, Nebraska at the end of May. So we wish them success while they are there, and congratulations, best of luck to them at the national competition. We also want to acknowledge another student, Lower Marion High School junior Amelia Carpenter, who has been named one of the winners in the Dream It, Code It, Win It competition sponsored by Yahoo, Google, Ventures, Forbes, and Trading Screen. The contest was designed to encourage students working in teams or as individuals to develop a creative application that incorporates creativity, innovation, and addresses a real need or problem along the video submission explaining their idea. So congratulations to junior Emily Carpenter. Also want to congratulate another Lower Marion High School student, sophomore Vanessa Roser, recently claimed the Best of Show Award in the Philadelphia Classic Society 76th Annual Latin Weeks competition for her entry in the Artistic and Lyrical Projects category. Her submission detailed an ornate sketch of mythical chimera, I hope that is the pronunciation, was selected as the top award winner among entries for nearly 30 schools throughout the area. So congratulations to our students and all of those who are doing wonderful work throughout the district. So with that, I'd like to move to the first item. The superintendent recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the human resource action as listed in the attached exhibits HR 1 through HR-4.
Are there any questions?
I just have one question. Maybe Megan, I don't know if it's more appropriate for you, but there's like 120 or so, a rough count, people who are end of assignment that we're approving. And I'm just wondering, did I read that right? And if I did, were they long-term subs? Are we going to later get transferred to full-time positions? Can you give me sort of a broad view of what's going on with that? It seems like a lot of people, more than I can recall seeing before.
Yes, primarily the ones that are listed as end of assignment, which customarily at this time of the year we're looking at are long-term substitutes, and those are the ones that are indicated there as end of assignment. That doesn't mean that they won't be returning to us in the fall. It's based on the needs that we have in the fall, but that list does reflect primarily long-term subs, though there are some, I believe, potentially some resignations and retirements within.
So, that's a lot of positions. Are they people that were gone for one reason or another and are coming back? Like, do you have any sense for how many?
There's a combination of whether they are covering individuals who are out on leave. There are a number that, based on student needs, such as instructional aides, and those needs change year to year. So a number were added at the beginning of this year based on student need, and we're assessing those needs as far as what staff will need to ensure coverage for next year. So this is routine.
In a week or two, could you just give us a sense of how many of those folks have people returning to those positions? How many of those are positions that aren't going to be around anymore, like a one-to-one or something?
Absolutely.
And just give us sort of a summary of that.
We can do that.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll pass it over to you, Dr. Lynch, to make the...
Sorry. I wish you had for Melissa.
I'm sorry. So you weren't using that. So I'd like to ask Dr. Gilbert for the curriculum committee of the board update.
Thank you. The curriculum committee of the board met on May 4th. We had a presentation by all 4 secondary school principals of the new program and schedule called Learn at the Middle Schools and Lunch and Learn at the High Schools. There was an extensive presentation that was given at the last education meeting on Monday, May 11th. So if you're interested, you can view that presentation online, but I'll give a short summary. The goal in both cases is to explore options to include more systematic and effective intervention and enrichment in alignment with the strategic plan. At the middle school level, Learn will occur at the end of the day. At the high school level, no classes will be held anywhere in the school for 1 hour each day during lunchtime. Each student will have a minimum of 30 minutes for lunch, but will also have time for additional support or enrichment, downtime, exercise, or time to collaborate. So we're trying this next year, and it sounds very exciting. We also had a presentation on measuring educator effectiveness for administrative school leaders, including principals, supervisors, and directors. This new system is due to requirements of Act 82 of 2012. To be very clear, we have been and continue to be evaluating administrators prior to the new system in similar ways, but we wanted to figure out how to implement the new system in a manner that was most helpful for us. The biggest changes are a focus on leadership and that self-reflection is used as part of the goal-setting process. And finally, we reviewed 2 contracts which were moved forward to purchasing and facilities. Those were again reviewed subsequently. One was for SunGuard Performance Tracker software renewal, and this is software that the district uses to store assessment data, which is accessible by teachers and administrators for data analysis purpose, as well as a contract where we're moving AWAES, which is our bullying prevention program that we have in the middle schools, and we're extending it now into the high schools, and the contract was for materials to support that program. The next meeting is June 1st at 8:30 a.m., and it's a joint meeting with the Policy Committee.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the renewal of the SunGuard subscription agreement for the use of Performance Plus to store the district's assessment data for the 2015-16 school year in the amount of $28,406.48.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the Oveas Hazelton quote to order books and DVD, CVD-ROMs to expand the Oveas bullying prevention program, the amount of $30,040.63. Do they make CD-ROMs anymore?
If you need one. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the student services as listed agreements for students receiving non-district educational services SS-1 through SS-25.
Is there a motion to approve? I'm sorry, any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached independent consultant contract with Dr. Jesse Sandoval Barrett in the amount of $250 an hour for psychiatric services from May 15th, 2015 through June 30th, 2016.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors authorize the IEP Writer Children Count license agreement for 2015-16 school year in the amount of $10,695.
Are there any questions? I did have a question. What's the IEP writer? Just curious.
Sure.
I'm assuming it's a template for IEPs.
Yes, it is. It's a computer monitoring system we use.
Okay, and you love it? Okay, all right. Okay. Any more questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will now have the report of the Facilities and Purchasing Committee by Mr. Driscoll.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. We met this past Thursday, May 14th, in this room, and we had a number of items. I'll try to race through them. The first one was a presentation from Reed Sander from the Willis Group. He provided an overview of trends in the insurance market, e.g. what types of claims have been trending upward recently, as well as an overview of the district's insurance coverages and how it relates to institutions of our sizes. We also reviewed the list of bills. We then reviewed the purchasing report that will include things such as collective purchasing through the MCIU of gasoline and biodiesel. Also, contract from Waste Management to collect trash at our non-school facilities. We also reviewed a contract for our canopies at three doorways at Harriton. We've been having stormwater issues getting into Harriton at these doors, causing obviously dangerous conditions and some damage to our property. And we also looked at a contract to install an additional exit door at the Lower Marion High School cafeteria for safety reasons, and looked at issues resolving fences that are in line with our security task force. We also reviewed contracts, as already mentioned, from our various committees. We also will look at contracts for leasing out district facilities for 2 summer camps. This has been going on for several years and very positive thing for the community and the students who have summer off. We reviewed a contract for Level 3, which is the district's internet service provider for enhanced security measures. We also reviewed a master services agreement with Systematic Roofing Analysis for roofing repair, designs, and constructions, with, I think, Penn Valley targeted as our first school in need of such services. However, as I think Mr. Gannan said earlier, in our 25 years of service, repairing roofs seems to be something we do a bit, but hopefully we'll get that under control shortly. We also reviewed a contract for David Blackmore for additional inspection work. This is being done at Welsh Valley. It's a very complicated project, so getting the inspections done in a timely fashion is very important. We reviewed a contract for design work for the district calendar from Iris Creative. I believe that contract was reviewed at Communications the previous day. We also received an update for the construction projects around the district. And we also received a presentation from the Safety Task Force regarding safety issues around our schools, additional fences, and had a very in-depth conversation with members from Penn Win regarding potential fencing issues over there. Our next meeting will be June 4th at 8:30 in this room.
Thank you, Mr. Driscoll. I'll turn the meeting over now to Mr. Orlando for the business and finance items.
Okay, under the business office and finance, we have 4 recommended action items. I'm going to take them all in one motion unless a board member would like me to separate any. Seeing there are none. Administration recommends the Board of School Directors approve the following recommended action items. Approve list of bills. Approve the financial report for April 2015. Accept the donation with pleasure pursuant to Policy 702 from the Belmont Hills Elementary Home and School Association in the amount of $3,521.60. to the Belmont Hills Elementary School Playground for the purchase of a Gaga ball pit, and declare surplus equipment as surplus property as per the attachment.
Before I call for questions, I just want to accept the donation from Belmont Hills with gratitude. Thank you to the home and school community for that generous donation for our students at Belmont Hills. So with that, are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Hold
I'm
on,
sorry.
I do, just one
Okay.
quick question. One of the attachments is a list of books that are being, from the Kinwood Library, that are being placed as, or put into surplus property. What are we doing with those books? Is there, does, I don't know if Kinwood has like a city school that they're connected to? Oh, thanks, Marcy.
We are currently, Dr. Dory and I are now currently looking for and put some feelers out for a school in Philadelphia that would, I'm sure, very happily take those books. So we've asked for them just to be boxed and to stay where they are right now, but we should have a home for them really shortly.
Just one, I don't know, for the community to know, or just one suggestion. I know when we donate children's books to the Bala Cynwyd Library, often teachers from schools that need books come to there to get them, for free, basically, for their schools. So just another option.
That's great. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Under the facilities and operation, we have 7 recommended action items. Mr. Driscoll went over all the details, which are all discussed in facilities. I'm going to take them in one motion unless a board member would like me to separate any of those. Seeing there are none. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the recommended following action items. Award the bids. Award the bids named in the attached purchasing report for the Montgomery County fuel bid. That is for gasoline, biodiesel, and number 2 heating oil. Also, the Montgomery County IU joint purchasing for trash disposal and recycling services, construction for canopies over the doors at Harrington High School, and modifications to egress at the Lower Marion High School cafeteria. We also have approved a license agreement with First String Sports LLC for 2 weeks of a summer basketball camp. Approve a license agreement with Nicholas Severini and World Class Soccer School for 1 week of a summer soccer camp. Approve the agreement with Irish Creative Strategic Membership Communications to design a 12-month activities calendar in the amount of $9,000. Approve the master agreement for professional services with Systematic Roofing Analysis, Inc., and the work order for not to exceed, work order number for phase number 2 on time and material basis not to exceed $10,000. Approve the attached amendment for individual work order number 4 issued to David Blackmore Associates on August 18, 2014 for additional fee of $70,309.99, and approve the quote from Level 3 Communications for enhanced protection services for a monthly fee of $1,250.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will now have a report of the Policy Committee from Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. Before I lose everybody reading the minutes of the meeting, I thought I would remind everyone that the Education Foundation of Lower Marion is having its 7th annual Run for Our Schools, benefiting the Education Foundation of Lower Marion. There's a 5K run, there's a 1.5-mile walk, and a track trot for the youngest runners. This is going to happen on Sunday, June 7th at Harrington High School, rain or shine, and registration is online now at educationfoundationoflm.org. Now to the Policy Committee meeting. Up for second reading this month are Policy 127, Evaluation of Educational Program, which is for repeal. The policy is scheduled for repeal as it has been taken into consideration in the collective bargaining agreement with LMEA. Policy number 908 was reviewed for volunteers. This policy will bring us in compliance with the Child Protective Services law that will go into effect for periods beginning July 1st, 2015. All qualifying volunteers of the district must get child clearances every 3 years. The administration is undertaking an approach to notify and educate affected parties about these legal changes. Policy number 808, food services free and reduced. This policy states that individuals can qualify for free and reduced lunch and must fill out the required forms each year for nutritional services. Policy number 152, participation in curricular programs and activities by economically disadvantaged students. This is a new policy. It states that individuals, students who qualify for free and reduced lunch can qualify for additional services such as funds for field trips and other school-related activities.
Our schools are already providing access to funds for activities that are above and beyond those qualifying for free and reduced lunch through partnering with HSAs, and this policy does not replace that relationship. Rather, this policy codifies something that is already occurring, so parents and guardians are aware of their options should their child need additional financial assistance. All qualifying individuals' information is kept strictly confidential. Policy number 131, controversial and value issues, is scheduled for repeal, replaced by policy number 119, controversial and value issues, objections to instructional materials. And finally, policy number 141, programs for gifted students, is for repeal, replaced by policy 114 and AR 114-3. Do you want to take a vote on that before I read any further? On the second readings?
Yes.
The following policies were reviewed for a second reading. Policy 127, evaluation of educational program for repeal. Policy 131, controversial and value issues, also for repeal. Policy 141, programs for gifted students, for repeal. Policy 152, participation in curricular programs and activities by economically disadvantaged students. Policy 808, nutritional services, free and reduced price meals for students. And policy 908, volunteers. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I'll finish reading
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Up for a first reading this month are policy number 130, guidelines concerning religion, which was reviewed, noting that the administration will come back with changes to this policy before it goes to a first reading. Policy number 245, suicide prevention and self-harming behavior. This policy fulfills our requirement to have a policy preventing student suicide before July 1st, 2015. Policy number 151, student athletics, was briefly discussed regarding a potentially hazardous activity release, and that will be discussed further next month. Administration regulations 114-3 was reviewed again, individualized student supports and services for gifted education, noting that several factors are taken into consideration when a student is considered for the challenge or gifted program. Additionally, a principal is authorized to allow additional evaluations of the same student in a given year. And the next meeting of the policy committee will be a joint meeting with the curriculum committee on June 1st at 8:30 a.m. in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the 2015 board meeting dates from September through December 2015. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm sorry, I missed the,
Oh, sorry.
who was it, Lori? Thank you, sorry about that. I was just checking something, sorry.
We will now have the Legislative Committee report by Dr. O'Leary, if there is any.
Yeah, the legislative committee has not met since the last time we reported out. We need to report that our meeting next month, sorry, our next meeting is canceled, and I apologize, I forget the date of the canceled meeting because I just put it out of my head.
I have the date, Wednesday, May
20th.
20th,
Thank you.
Legislative Committee,
Thank you.
8:30
Wednesday.
a.m. canceled.
It is canceled. And I just wanted to thank the committee and the board for the work on the resolution, and I'm glad we were able to pass that. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will now have the report of the Communications Committee from Ms. Ackman.
Thank you. The committee met on May 13th at 8:30. We've already heard from Dr. Marseille about some of the highlights that we discussed at the committee meeting. I wanted to highlight a few items, though. The first is May 29th will be LM TEDx from 9 to 2. And that is actually a student-organized TEDx event with lots of interesting speakers. It sounds like there's a lot of excitement and engagement around that, so it sounds pretty neat. We also talked about the fact that we are moving forward with a print calendar again. And some of the issues with that, I think we're going to focus on key dates in terms of when school is in session and some other key dates. But the print calendar, which has won awards for how it displays student artwork, will be back next year. And we continue to discuss how to best keep all the calendars updated with school events for staff, for students, for parents, for the community, and more to come on that. And the final thing I wanted to mention is we're still planning, forging ahead with the Community Resource Network, which is a key piece of implementation of the strategic plan. We're planning to informally convene a group from the community to give us some feedback on what we're planning. And the intention is to kind of work with the board and the community to design something over the summer for launch in the fall. So more to come on that. And I think the next meeting is not till the fall, according to the calendar. So we'll look forward to updating everyone when we return in September. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ackman. I'd like to move now to audience recognition. If there's anyone who would like to make public comment at this time, please sign in with Ms. LaPera and let us know the general vicinity in which you live in the district, and there is a 3-minute time limit.
I can go. Crystal Blunt. First, I want to ask a question. We had a community meeting at Bethel Ardmore where Dr. Van Lynch attended that meeting about a concern at Penn Wynn with what an African-American child said to her father. And that night, policy came up, a policy issue came up, and what the policy reads for the district when things of race-based or bully-based or whatever does arise, what's the district's policy or standing on that? And I remember her saying it was vague and that, you know, she was going to bring it up, and I was just wondering if that happened or what their thoughts are on that policy.
So I did look it up, and the policy itself is vague. However, the ARs are very clear in terms of language and hate speech in the administrative regulations. So it is laid out quite clearly in the administrative regulations in terms of what should be done at the building level. And if there's additional information, I'll have Dr. Marseille speak to that from an administrative side.
Okay. No, okay. So if that, then could you let us know where that is so that we could look that over? And also, while I'm here, I just want to publicly thank Dr. Marseille for a job that was well done, not only in, you know, from the start of the school year and how he opened up the school year for us in August was a breath of fresh air. I know that everyone I've ever talked to just enjoyed the way the school year started off. So from the school community, a job well done. And just for personal in the community, I want to thank you. And I also want to thank you for the time that you allot to come out on Saturdays to feed the homeless, and just your, coming into the community, whether we had a parent workshop, just making yourself available, making the staff available if, we had questions and concerns. So I just want to let him know that I appreciate that. And for a job well done. I didn't get to speak to the new superintendent that was here tonight. So many people were here to welcome him. And hopefully he'll stay around for a long, time. With the last couple of superintendents, they've left before whatever they were charged to do. Jamie Savadoff and Chris McGinley before the jobs were done. So hopefully this one will stay around.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you for the kind words. I should give you extra time to keep talking nice things about it. So it's good to hear at the tail end. But I did want to comment on policy 235. Yep. I correct, which is the policy that says that. But I also want to say that part of the larger conversation about this issue, and we had that large community meeting, was really obviously one, what does the district do in terms of steps, in terms of when those incidences occur, but the larger picture and what we discussed at that evening session is how do we engage the entire community in a conversation around race? Yeah. What happens when a 9-year-old makes these particular types of statements, yeah, and how do we facilitate professional learning experiences so that there's consistency in terms of how it's handled in classrooms, not only across buildings, but in classrooms across the district. So we're looking forward to that much broader conversation. But I think yes, the guidelines are there in 235, but the reality is we know we need to go much larger or much farther than those guidelines in terms of educating our young students, so that when there are issues happening across the country, where it's televised, nationalized, that we help them navigate those conversations, also help our teachers do the same thing. So we are working very hard to, with the CARE committee, hopefully over the summer and in the fall, to put something together for the larger community to address those issues.
Thank you.
And Ms. Jenkins?
Ruth Jenkins, Wynwood. I also would like to echo Crystal's words that I appreciate your cheerfulness and your good listening skills and your responses to my continuous comments. My comment tonight is, I have two comments. One is the thing that I've been thinking about all week is managed chaos, which in my mind is an oxymoron. And I have no concept of how that kind of thing is going to work in this school system, in the high school system. And I'll need more information. I'll actually like to see it rehearsed. The second thing, my concern is about Neshaminy High School, where and hopefully, I was hoping that the new superintendent was here. A couple of years ago, there was an incident at Neshaminy High School where the school newspaper refused to use the word Redskins to report on their football team. And the Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools, insisted that the newspaper use those words, derogatory words, even though the students were refusing to do so, and had to hire legal responsibility, legal representation. My concern is about our newspaper and our students and our freedom of speech and the ability for them to express the thoughts and ideas that a newspaper should be allowed to do under the First Amendment. The teacher advisor was suspended, and as was the student editor.
Yeah, I can speak to that because I actually made inquiry to the attorneys for handling the matter for the school district. It was not, first of all, the controversy wasn't that the students were required, like the student journalists were required to use the term. It was that when letters to the editor were submitted using that term, the students refused to print the term in the letters to the editor from individuals that were advocating keeping the name as the mascot. It was this was the Board of Education. It wasn't if you were to refer to the Human Relations Commission complaint that was filed in that case, the superintendent's he's not even mentioned in there. So, but just so we're clear, the students, whatever action was taken against the students by the principal, wasn't requiring them to use it. It was requiring that they print it in whatever letters to the editor there was. But again, the superintendent wasn't even mentioned. Really isn't even mentioned in the human relations complaint.
Thank you, Mr. Roos. Thank you for the comments.
I think there's one more.
Oh, I'm sorry, please.
Hi, my name's Joe Sniglia. I have 3 children here in the Penn Valley School District, and so far it's been a wonderful experience. We're very proud and very committed to the school district, and it was great to come here tonight and hear all the wonderful accolades to the everybody who's very committed to the school district. But I wanted to take a moment here to come and kind of speak about. I'm also a resident here on Worcester and Owen, and I kind of came to speak about the traffic and parking situation. I walk my dog, I jog in the morning, and the children are out in their yards in the morning, sometimes before the school bus, and it's become pretty chaotic with, students trying to park, with parents dropping off their children. I also can kind of relay, and I'm sure you're aware of this, I think 2 people in our neighborhood have been hit by cars this year. So it's really, it's kind of deteriorated over the last year or so, and we've been here 10 years. So I, wanted to kind of bring that to people's attention and was hoping for kind of an update on the situation.
I apologize, but can you tell me what you mean when you want an update on the situation with respects to the individuals who have hit, the perspective of students parents who are dropping off their students off that road, or which?
I guess all the above, kind of if there's any discussion around the traffic flow around parking or potential parking in the neighborhood and, dropping children, parents dropping children off. So in general, the traffic flows to parking.
Sure. Okay. Now I have a better understanding. Thank you for the clarification. We are and we continue to be aware of the traffic issues along Montgomery and other parts of that, and we've been working with the township to provide additional safety procedures for that. With regards to parent drop-off, we are very clear with parents in terms of what is the appropriate drop-off. There's no such thing as tuck and roll, where you're rolling down Montgomery and you're just pushing your kids out, or you're parking at a stop sign and then all of a sudden you see all these doors opening and students are exiting. And we've done an admirable job in trying to communicate that. We tend to see that more at the beginning of the year in terms of the traffic, but we do know it has ebb and flows. We are trying to get some of our campus aides out there to ensure that doesn't happen. We're very adamant with our students around parking and where they can and cannot park, and we try to make sure that there's not sneaking out of the building to move their cars or park illegally, things of that nature. So it is an ongoing conversation that we're having. Enrollment growth doesn't help the matter much, so we are trying very hard not only to address the impact of enrollment growth in this area, but other areas as well.
Yeah, because I can share some observations from the neighbors. I mean, it's real, especially over the last couple of weeks, it seemed to have gotten worse, and there's some increasing concern, and also the demographic of the neighborhood's changing over too. The number of children, probably like your enrollment, is increasing significantly too. So as parents are really quite concerned about the situation.
Thank you.
I just want to, at the facilities meeting this past Thursday, we talked about the safety task force and some of the issues. So some of that has to do with fences around schools, but a lot of it had to deal with, can we change the signage around many schools, and the Lower Marion High School being one of them. The Wynwood Civic has presented a presentation to us and to the township. It's like, could you do this with the signs? Could you do that with the signs? The issue there is it's Montgomery Avenue. I believe that's a PennDOT road, so they're the ones who control signage, crosswalks, timing of lights. We will do our best to work with them. We're aware of the situation. I know, Dr. Marseille, I believe you've met with the township several times on these various safety issues, so it's not done yet, but we are still having those conversations.
Well, our concern isn't so much, I mean, we understand Montgomery Avenue, but it's, on the side streets, Powell, Worcester, Hamilton.
Yes.
Yeah, we're working.
Owen.
Yes, I agree. We're
I
working
think,
on
yeah,
that,
those
and unfortunately, as the weather gets much nicer and the
Right.
year ends, we tend to see a lot more, pardon the pun, traffic from our students. So we'll continue to monitor that, and thank you for informing us. It's important that in this venue or other venues that our neighbors inform us of what they're seeing, and then we'll make sure that we move forward the appropriate steps. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the comments. In accordance with Act 93 of 1998, Sunshine Law, the Board of School Directors met in executive information sessions on the following dates: May 5th, 11th, and 18th, personnel; May 6th, real estate. Upcoming meeting dates: the Legislative Committee meeting for Wednesday, May 20th at 8:30 a.m. is canceled. Monday, June 1st, there will be a joint curriculum policy meeting at 8:30 a.m. in this room. On Thursday, June 4th, there will be a facilities purchasing committee meeting at 8:30 a.m. also in this room. And Monday, June 8th, there will be a regular board business meeting at 8 p.m. So with that, we are adjourned.